I've lived in my apartment complex for about 3 years now. It's a decent place. Older building, decent management, nothing fancy. When I moved in, I was assigned one parking spot in the covered garage. Spot 114 is literally on my lease. I pay an extra $45 a month for it on top of my rent. It's not a suggestion, it's mine. About 8 months ago, a guy moved into the unit 2 floors above me. I'll call him Derek because that is in fact his name, and Derek deserves to be called out, even if only in a Reddit post. Derek drives a lifted black F-250. That is, I want to be clear, enormous. The kind of truck where you need a running start to get into the cab. Derek also does not have a covered spot. He has an uncovered space in the lot out front, which costs less and is assigned to his unit. You can see where this is going. The first time I came home and found Derek's truck in spot 114, I assumed it was an honest mistake. New tenant, mixed up the numbers, whatever. I left a note on his windshield, very polite. Hey, this is my assigned spot, no big deal, just wanted to give you a heads up. I parked on the street that night and kind of forgot about it. 3 days later, he was in my spot again. I left another note, less breezy this time. Something like, hey, this keeps happening. I'm paying for this spot. Please use yours. He was gone by morning. I figured we were good. We were not good. Over the next 4 months, I found Derek in my spot probably 15 to 20 times. I left notes. I knocked on his door twice. He either wasn't home or was pretending not to be. I emailed management. Management sent a building-wide reminder email about assigned parking. Derek did not receive this email spiritually. He kept doing it. Here's the thing that made it worse. I work from home 3 days a week, so sometimes I didn't even need my car and I'd come down to find him there and just leave it. Take the L Park on the street when I needed to go somewhere. It felt petty to get him towed when I wasn't even using the spot. I told myself I was being the bigger person. I was not being the bigger person. I was being a pushover who was too tired to deal with it. The 4th time I emailed management, the property manager, a woman named Carol who communicates exclusively in 3-sentence emails, told me that the next time it happened, I should call the towing company directly, that the complex had a contract with them, and that as the spot's leaseholder, I had the authority to do it. She CC'd me on the towing company's info. I saved that email. I saved that email so hard. Now here's where the petty part comes in, because just towing him would have been satisfying, but what actually happened was chef's kiss. Derek, I eventually learned through complex small talk, is really into car shows. Like it's his whole personality. He and his truck group apparently drive out to this big regional show about 2 hours away every spring, and it's a big deal to them. He'd been talking about it in the elevator for weeks. New lift kit, custom wheels he'd ordered special, the whole thing. The show was on a Saturday. I found out about the show because Derek mentioned it to our neighbor Priya in the elevator while I was standing right there. And he was so excited he was practically vibrating. He'd taken Friday off work. He was leaving at 5 a.m. Saturday to get a good spot at the show. He'd spent, according to him, a few grand on the new parts. Friday night, I got home around 7 p.m. Spot 114. Black F-250. Lifted. Shiny new wheels. Now, in the past, I would have sighed, taken a photo for my records, parked on the street, and stewed quietly. This time I stood there for a solid 30 seconds just looking at his truck. Thought about the 15-plus times. The notes, the emails, Carol's 3-sentence replies, the $45 a month. The fact that he was literally parked there at 7 p.m. the night before his 5 a.m. departure for his big truck show. I called the towing company. They were there in under an hour. I watched from my window. I'm not ashamed of this. The truck was gone by 8:15 p.m. I went to sleep. I did not feel guilty. The impound lot in our city has limited Saturday hours. They open at 10 a.m. and close at 2 p.m. The show was 2 hours away and started at 8 a.m., which Derek had told us approximately 4 times in the elevator. There's no way he made it to that show with his shiny new wheels. The impound fee in our city for a standard tow is around $200 plus $50 per day storage. By the time he got there Saturday, it would have been at least $250 to get his truck out, assuming he went right at 10 a.m. I heard him in the hallway Saturday morning around 4:45 a.m., presumably heading down to get in his truck. Then I heard nothing for a while. Then around 5:30 a.m., I heard him on the phone in what I can only describe as an outdoor voice having an indoor problem. Saturday was a good day. Update. Okay, so a few things happened after, and people in the comments of my last post were asking. So here's the follow-up. Derek knocked on my door Sunday afternoon. I genuinely debated not answering, but I'm not a coward, so I did. He looked tired and honestly a little embarrassed. He asked me if I'd called the tow. I told him yes, I had, because it's my assigned spot that I pay for, and he'd been parking there for months, despite multiple notes and 2 in-person attempts to talk to him. I kept my voice very neutral. I was proud of myself. He started to say something that had the energy of an incoming, well, actually, and then he kind of stopped himself and just said, yeah, fair enough, and that was it. He turned around and left. I stood there for a second, not quite believing it. He has not parked in my spot since. Not once in the 6 weeks since this happened. He parks in his spot out front in the rain like a person who does not have a covered spot. I also followed up with Carol via email just to document that I had used the towing authority she'd given me and that the situation appeared to be resolved. She replied in 3 sentences. One of them was good. That's basically a parade from Carol. Priya, my neighbor, who'd been in the elevator for the car show conversation, texted me about 2 weeks after the tow. She had apparently figured out what happened based on the timing and just sent me a single thumbs-up emoji. I sent one back. That was our entire conversation, and it was perfect. The part that still gets me, if Derek had just parked in his own spot any one of those 15-plus times, none of this would have happened. If he'd answered the door either time I knocked, if he'd moved his truck after any of my notes. He had so many off-ramps. He chose none of them. And then he chose to park in my spot the one night where the consequences were actually going to sting. I did not plan that part. I want to be clear. I didn't know about the show when I decided to finally start using my towing authority. The timing was just the universe having a sense of humor, or justice, or both. For what it's worth, I don't actually hate Derek. We're cordial in the elevator now. He seems like kind of a normal guy who just had an inexplicable blind spot about this one specific thing and needed an expensive lesson to correct it. I hope his truck looked great at whatever car show he eventually makes it to, from his assigned parking spot. So I guess my question to you all is, was I wrong to wait until this specific moment to pull the trigger, or should I have just called the tow the very first time and saved us both months of annoyance? And is there something about a situation like this that makes people wait way too long to actually enforce their own rights? Or is that just me? Because in hindsight, I should have called after the third time at the absolute latest, and I'm a little annoyed at past me for being so patient about it.